First time that I'm using a webcam. And this is at the suggestion of Lisa that I get a webcam. It was a rather emphatic suggestion, but since today's topic is rock on, or so it would seem, let's get on with it. Whoops, this is no way to begin. This is on rock. We all know rock stars. We see them every day thanks to our ever-present media. Rock stars come in all shapes and sizes. Some rock more than others. Let's go back to the beginning where it all started. Some rocks are so big that I'm not certain we really have any words to describe them. Uluru, for example, or Ayers Rock is one of them. Now that's one big rock. Some rocks can only be described as huge. Of course, magnificent, colossal also pop to mind. We also notice small, relatively ordinary rocks nearly everywhere. Rocks have beginnings too. Out of the magma of the earth spews the formation of mountains of rocks. This reminds me of a story. Stop me if you've heard this one. I took a trip to the big island of Hawaii back in the 80s when Kilauea was first starting to erupt again. The big concern was that the lava was heading straight toward the beautiful sacred black sand beaches. The lava was going to cover them up and they'd be lost forever. People were really concerned about this. The beaches were kind of sacred to them. So after a few years of eruption and the swallowing of miles and miles of black sand beaches by the molten lava, lo and behold, the black sand beaches began to reappear. It was a miracle. Pele had answered the prayers of many of the devout believers. Well, it turns out that as the molten lava blows out of one of the underwater vents, it hits the cold Pacific Ocean and bursts into billions of tiny little pieces. And you guessed it, black sand. Rocks can be mysterious in other ways too. Of course, the mystery is usually just that we simply don't understand it yet. Do rocks actually sail across the sands? Well, there's no wind out there, so probably not. It's got to be a different answer. Somebody will figure it out, and they probably have already. Rocks are pretty darn tough. Just fall down on one sometime. But as strong and durable as they might be, there's always something bigger and tougher out there somewhere. I'm sensing there might be a parable in there somewhere. Mother Nature is quite an artist. All we have to do is look at some of her work to realize that we've got nothing on her when it comes to the sheer beauty of her work. Now, I'm not necessarily going to call this art, but it certainly is unique and quite beautiful. I've heard that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and so it is with this balanced rock. Once again, old Mom Nature used a bit of water to create this masterpiece. Okay, I'll call it art. The beauty that surrounds us is astounding. Everywhere we look, the natural beauty of this planet graces our existence. It's one of the things that truly astonishes me, and astonish from the true sense of the word. One of the more important lessons of the day is never lose your sense of curiosity. Always keep your mind, your eyes wide open. Don't close them down with preconceived notions and prejudices. We humans believe that we too are artists. Some of what we do I would address as creative rather than artful, but that's my opinion and I could be wrong. Sometimes we take the rocks directly from nature and arrange them in very creative and beautiful ways. Sometimes we modify the rocks to maintain that look or feel or texture of the underlying rock, and yet create something that may also be considered artful. Heck, I do this myself when I do my mosaic work. At other times, the rocks are not altered in any way. However, the artist adorns them to create something a little different or to express some profound notion, like this Meo Toiwa, or the wedded rocks. Thousands of years ago, the Mayans created, among other things, calendars that tracked the passage of time over various periods of time. This one is the Tzolk'in, or the 260-day calendar. They had more calendars, one that even clocked a 3,600-year cycle. The Mayans also used stone to record the stories of the lives of the important people in their culture. Here's a depiction of one of their rulers. I even used the Mayan glyphs as my signature on many of my art forms and even here in the I Am Rockstar. It's kind of fun and a bit artsy. So speaking of rock stars, we must mention one of the most stellar of them all, our own Estrella de Piedra, Lisa Gorgetz. You rock, girl. Oh yeah, lest we forget, training camp is beginning in earnest and the first game is just a month away. Rock on, Pack. I'll sign off now. This glyph that you're looking at here says, I am called Milin. We must recall that the Mayans didn't have an R in their vocalizations or in their writings. So I'm not Merlin in Mayan. I'm Milin. Just to let you know. Adios. That's it for this day.